Yes, I attended a meeting at Hale's location a couple of weeks ago, and they seem to believe that they have a reserve fund of $484,000 somewhere down here at the county. They asked me to check into it. I see nothing in here relative to that.
Hale's location does not show on the general fund because it does not come out of county taxes. It comes out of Hale's location. They have their own account. And if you have a further question, then Commissioner Solomon
Yes,
have it. Go ahead.
Their question, I did receive your email, and thank you very much. I think probably the best thing to do would be maybe sit down with you for just a couple of minutes after the meeting, and I can go over what their concerns are.
Okay, Commissioner Solomon.
I received an email yesterday from Mr. Winters, and I'm sorry, I should have forwarded to you as well, I forgot. But he was satisfied with the answer, and they are going to be working on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So I do assume to everybody to know that there isn't a slush fund of $483,000 for Hale's location. Yes. Yes, Commissioner.
I see no reason why next year we can't put part of that towards reducing their taxes. Their taxes is $3 and something a thousand.
Yes, Commissioner
Well,
Solomon.
One of the things, and I don't know that Commissioner Sorensen saw my email, if they have 2 new children,
Oh.
that's going to eat up a good portion of that, or some of it anyway.
Mhm.
And
40,000.
and if they want to then take some of it in next year's budget and they'll allocate it for roads, then that's going to take some more money, so it's not going to be that much.
Yeah.
I would also ask that that email come, you forward a copy of that to
Certainly.
me as well. 'Cause unfortunately, I was out of town when the meeting.
And maybe one of the things you could do is just forward it to all of the delegation members, and then
Okay.
that might be good because
My only problem
Yeah.
at this point is I think I erased it all.
eventually we'll get it. Yes, Commissioner
Madam
Sorensen.
Chairman, not to belabor the point, but I think they're looking for some of that money to go for roads.
Yes.
Roads, lighting, maintenance of roads and lighting and so forth and water, it's handled by the association. Now, whether we can use that money to go for roads where it's not our responsibility, it's the association's responsibility to maintain, improve, or whatever on the roads. So that's something we're gonna have to take a look at and do some research as to whether that money can be used for that purpose, because we're not responsible for that.
Yes, and that's public money that they're getting apparently from their taxes, and apparently there is some money left over.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
Representative McCarthy.
Yes, I did, when I talked to Commissioner Solomon about it last week, I did mention roads, but there were several things that they were concerned about. Not only roads, but other projects that they were thinking of. And I believed right off the bat about the roads, they're not gonna be able to use money for roads because it is an association.
Yeah.
But there were other things that they thought maybe they could use some of that money for, other than roads.
Okay.
If they incorporated, they could decide what they wanted to do with all of their money, but they have chosen
right.
not to, so that it ends up in our lap sometimes. Representative Umberger.
Yeah, this is just a comment, that since they are an unincorporated place, the county commission acts as selectmen do. And so I'm not sure where the division lies as to what they can and what they can't do. But selectmen certainly have the right to do roads.
Yeah.
And so, there may be a need for the commissioners to look at what in fact their tax money can go for. Because if they're acting as selectmen, then anything within the purview of a selectman could certainly be accomplished through their taxes. And they could, if they want roads, then they raise the taxes. If they want something else, the bottom line is you change or you raise the taxes to meet whatever the obligation is. But we're not looking at this in the same manner as we look at what goes on in the county, because the county doesn't pay for schools. Okay, we don't pay school taxes, but yet for Hale's location, the county collects the taxes and then in turn pays the Conway School District what it is. So I would just simply ask that we take a look at what the authority of the commissioners are in relationship to the unincorporated places. Because even though they have an association, the rule is that they pay the taxes to take care of whatever public requirements are there. And I don't know what the breakdown is, I don't know what their association rules say in relationship to roads or anything else. And so I just ask that that occur so that the people in Hales can.
Yes, and if they do want to have roads done by the, i.e. the commissioners and whatnot, they have to raise it and appropriate it in their budget. They can't just decide that they want to take what's ever left over in the budget and do it, because you don't have, the selectmen don't have the authority unless it's raised and appropriated. Representative McCarthy?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I said almost the same thing at the meeting. And I also, and I'm not trying to put you in a box, but I highly recommended that when they have their meetings, since you do represent them as their selectmen, that they invite you to their meetings so that you can tell them firsthand what has to be done and what can and cannot be done. So I hope they'll heed that and invite you to their meetings.
Great.
Okay, any further questions on Hales? And hopefully they will do that again. It does not show in this set. We do approve their budget one time by the end of the year, but we don't have, it doesn't become, it's not county taxes. That's why it's not here. Okay? Okay, let's look at revenues. On page 1 for the account 4,000, which is the general, county general, we're at 50% of our revenues. And then, any questions? Sheriff's income, we're at 46% of our income. Any questions? Registry of Deeds, 48% as of June 30th. Okay, jail and House of Corrections, account number 6040, they're at 73, so that you're doing pretty good. Well, it's usually, that telephone does, they pay, they're talking a lot, right? They pay their own telephone. Farm income, this is a good surprise, 147%.
You gotta go to the next page, that was just one line.
That's maintenance income, oh, I'm sorry.
Unfortunately.
43, so, but you've gotten other income more than what we figured.
Right, but
Yeah,
I would say that might be a problem, the maintenance income, because it's the other people that pay for it. And so,
what do you mean the other people that pay for it?
well,
It's an intra.
yeah, it's an
County, transaction.
transaction. And so I realize that we're doing, mowing at this point, but we also have snow removal coming up. And so that may or may not be a good thing. And
Okay.
And I don't
know.
And I don't know either, and I didn't see
Unless we get something every summer.
any, particular problems in the expenditures, but it might be something that needs to be just watched, so that we're not,
The same last year.
Yeah, we did the same thing last year, we were at 151%, but that's okay, just watch it and see what happens. Yeah. Go ahead, Representative Algren.
Thank you, and if I might just back up a couple steps, back to the sheriff's dispatch income, and on that $5,000 there, is that, I thought that was because we were gonna do Milton's dispatch and they were gonna pay us, is that what, I think that's what that money was? My recollections, if serve me correctly, and I was just wondering if that is indeed it, and what sort of payment schedule was that, or is that not happening?
I haven't heard anything, but there was one town that we were gonna get income from, and there was a potential of a second one, and I don't know the answer
Okay. All right, but that might be worth at least an ask to the sheriff's department to see if that is indeed happening or not, just out of curiosity, I guess, more than anything else.
Okay. All right, at the revenue for the maintenance income, total amount is at 83%. And that probably could be the same thought about, is it too much or too little? Go ahead, Representative Flack.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and if I might go back to the line in the general fund of farm income, the use of equipment. Well, I guess I don't have a problem with use of equipment. I was just wondering about other income. Is that something that is being charged to other entities within the
Yes.
county? Okay.
So we didn't figure that in when we went for the amount of money for the farm, but we are bringing it in, 92300. What is that?
We had
What's the
budgeted
923?
45,000, correct?
That use
No,
of
that's use of
equipment.
equipment at 45,000.
That other income is
Oh,
the
other income.
other
Yeah.
income.
That was from salvage.
That's salvage?
Mhm.
Yes, go ahead, Will.
Occasionally, either some of the other departments and/or barns and things we can find, or scrap metal, we take to but I can't budget for that, but I take it and we credit the money. That's why we have another income. I
Okay,
can't budget how much I'm gonna have at the beginning of the year, but as things come in, we take it to the salvage yard and get paid for it and turn the money in.
That's good. I was just concerned that it might be another item that would show up as a cost or an expenditure against other departments, but that's not the case. We're actually,
That's
This
your
is
money
us.
that's coming in.
good.
okay, good,
Thank you.
thank you. Yes, Representative Umberger?
Right. I see that hay is doing very well, or is not doing very well. Is that because we haven't paid yet, or
How's the hay?
how, I'm showing, that we have not been taking in as much as we had planned. And that's a significant amount of money for the farm, or for the county.
Remember, this is the second quarter.
Right, so we didn't really technically, if I look back at my notes, I didn't start haying until probably the end of June, June
Okay.
20th, somewhere in that time period. These end on June 30th. So when we first start haying, we're putting it in the barn, we're not even delivering it out. But I can reassure you, I do a weekly at the farm, and we have sold all of our first cut hay, and the numbers are looking pretty good. I think we're gonna be awful close, and I think if not, excel, as long as second cut turns out to be good in the hay.
Okay, thank
Just
you.
you'll see it on the third quarter, that's when a lot of it'll hit.
Okay, good. Appreciate that.
So hay comes in usually third quarter. Okay. Any other questions on that one? Any other questions? Then we went to the maintenance income at 83%. Interest income, 57%. Any questions? Other revenue is at 50%. Any questions? Overall, the general fund is at 50. Enterprise fund, Sandy was telling us that we're at 64 in the amount that expenditures versus revenue, we are up 682,023. Okay, so that's in 64%.
Mr. Alderman, could I ask Mr. Alderman, he's got the blue sheets, where were we last year this time?
I'm sorry, for which account?
For the enterprise fund. We're at 57.
For the
Enterprise
nursing home?
fund.
As far as the difference between expenditures and revenue.
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, you were reading my mind, I guess, because that's what I was doing. I was jumping ahead a little bit, but I think that it's interesting that on both ends, they're pretty close, that the expenditures were at 43% this year and 42% last year, and that the income, and that's of course to budget. So we spent $9,889,000 in the first half of the year, and this year we've spent $11,074,000. So we've spent more money, but we've